Imagine losing your mind when the Wi-Fi drops for 10 minutes. Now picture a world with no screens, no streaming, no scrolling, and yet somehow people were having more fun than we are today. Welcome to medieval life, where entertainment didn't come from apps or algorithms. It came from stories, music, feasts, and full-contact horse battles. It's easy to assume that medieval life was all plagues and pitchforks, but here's a twist. Studies show medieval people actually had more free time than we do. The average worker got 150 days off each year thanks to feast days and religious festivals. While we're glued to our phones, they were getting together to feast, dance, and tell epic stories that would make Marvel look tame. Storytelling was the medieval version of Netflix, except instead of CGI, it was all memory and performance. Talented Scops could recite thousands of lines from memory. Beowulf, a 382-line monster-slaying epic, survived purely through word of mouth, and these storytellers were rock stars, traveling town to town, adjusting their tales for the mood. Dragons, romance, battles, whatever kept the crowd hooked. Stories weren't just entertainment, they were how people shared history, gossip, and life lessons. And forget 8-second attention spans. Medieval audiences could sit through the same tale over and over, finding new meaning each time. Sound effects? Provided live. Props? Occasionally hazardous, like the time a storyteller whacked an audience member with a prop sword mid-performance. Immersive, indeed. Then came medieval theater, the blockbuster event of the era. Shakespeare's Globe Theater packed in 3,000 rowdy fans. Standing tickets? A single penny. But you'd be in the mud, possibly rained on, and surrounded by people shouting, booing, and throwing food. It was like live theater crossed with a sporting event. The effects were legendary. Flying actors on ropes, pig bladders full of blood, and cannonballs for thunder. One cannon mishap even burned the whole globe down, and if you wanted peak action, you watched the joust. This wasn't some casual reenactment. It was a brutal, high-speed collision of knights on horseback, decked out in 100 pounds of armor, crashing into each other with 14-foot lances at 40 miles per hour. Tournaments lasted weeks, crowds went wild, and injuries were frequent. One king even died from a splintered lance to the face. Medieval risk, medieval reward. Music was everywhere, from minstrels rocking castle parties to bizarre instruments like bladder pipes and hurdy-gurdies. Some songs were about love, war, or drinking, and one inexplicably popular hit was about a runaway cow. Church authorities even banned certain demonic note combinations, afraid they'd summon evil spirits. That's like outlawing heavy metal for being too metal. And the food? Feasts were multi-day spectacles with birds baked into pies, sugar castles, and dyed peacocks reassembled after cooking just for show. One royal meal included 8,000 sheep, 2,000 pigs, and 1,300 deer. Guests were seated by social status. Sitting above the salt meant you were important. Below, not so much. Between courses came dancing, sometimes so wild it collapsed floors. At festivals, peasants became kings. Jesters juggled flaming torches, and choir boys dressed as bishops gave roast sermons mocking clergy. One even compared his bishop to a barnyard animal and got a standing ovation. Board games like Nine Men's Morris were so popular, people carved boards into church pews. Dice games, chess matches, and gambling were everywhere. One knight even lost his castle over a single game. And dances ranged from elegant courtship to high-energy stamp routines that doubled as cardio. All this in a world with no Netflix, no TikTok, no YouTube. Yet somehow medieval folks managed to throw parties that could burn down theaters, collapse buildings, and make kings dance like chickens. So next time your Wi-Fi cuts out, maybe take a page from the Middle Ages. Tell a story, stomp your feet, or challenge someone to a duel. Of chess, obviously. If you love this dive into wild medieval entertainment, hit like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments. Which medieval pastime would you try? Just maybe avoid the one with the splintered lance.